Okay, so we are here still on the battlefield of the first July actions of 1863. And this is one of the more interesting places to me. This is the railroad cut. There was a famous photograph of this, or not photograph, but a painting done by one of my favorite painters, Don Tironi. And if you look right here, there's some literature here you can read. Trapped in the cut. This is the railroad cut looking east towards Gettysburg, so in that direction, and this was taken in 1869, and he was standing on that side of the tracks. But this was the scene of a dramatic engagement on the first day of the battle. On the morning of July the 1st, a Confederate attack crushed the Union line here, sending the surviving Federals streaming back towards the town of Gettysburg, which is directly to our left. Shortly after, Union units counterattacked and forced the Southerners to take cover in the railroad cut that's in front of us. Despite the deadly Confederate fire from the cut, Union infantry led by Colonel Rufus R. Dawes and Colonel Edward B. Fowler crossed the turnpike, which is in front of us right here, and climbed the fence here, and they were shot. Many of the men were shot in the attempt, but they reached the edge of the cut right here and yelled, "Throw down your muskets!" So as they crossed this field right here, they ran across to this railroad cut, and we're going to kind of reenact the exact path that they took. So they just ran across here, basically like we're doing now, from this fence line. And just imagine, Federals are attacking over this field. Many of them are getting cut down as they're approaching this railroad cut. They've been pushed out of here one time, and now they're trying to take it back. And a lot of the Confederate army is jumping in this ravine right here. Now, this is something you probably don't want to do, even though it looks like good cover. Well, it's hard to get out of. So as they're doing this, guess what? They get trapped in this ravine, and in this railroad cut, they can't get out. And in doing this, the Northern Army got right here, stopped, and this is the original railroad cut, still the railroad cut today. And they yelled, "Put down your muskets. It's over. You're done. You're finished." And they took many of the Confederates prisoner in this location. Now, we're not going down on the railroad cut because that's what we have to traverse, and we're just not going to do that. But very cool to see this spot in person. So this railroad cut, man, is a legend of stories for me, and it is so neat to see this in person and see where so many of these men, you know, saw their last moments and saw partially the end of some of the bloodiest fighting on July the 1st. Because if you notice, we're pushing closer and closer to the town of Gettysburg. The Union Army is trying to hold, they're trying to hold out, but they're just not able to do it. So they get pushed further and further and further back into town. And we'll explain to you what happened for the remainder of July 1st in just a few moments. Now, just because we are pressured for time a little bit, I am kind of doing this out the window of the vehicle. But this is the vicinity of Oak Hill, and this was kind of where reinforcements arrived after a lull in the fighting. General Robert Rodes' division threatened the Union right from this position. After their initial repulse, Confederates regrouped and eventually drove the Northern forces back, thus sending them back to Gettysburg. The fighting on the morning of July 1st was waged in the fields of Gettysburg as the Confederates of General A.P. Hill's corps advanced from the direction of Cashtown, which is in this vicinity. And that afternoon, General Richard Edwell's corps began to arrive from the direction of Carlisle to the north in this area. And here along the slopes of Oak Hill, General Robert Rodes' 5 brigades of some 7,700 men went into position. 3 of his 5 brigades faced southward towards this area, and properly managed, this force should have been able to drive back the Union Army from the field in short order, but vague orders and proper alignment and some questionable leadership led to piecemeal mill attacks and came in heavy Confederate casualties. So General Richard Edwell actually lost a leg during the Battle of the Second Manassas on August the 28th of 1862. So that's just a cool little tidbit for you guys as you're looking out over the vicinity of Oak Hill now. If you look in that direction, that is the actual field here at Oak Hill. In front of us is the Peace Eternal and the Nation United. That's the Eternal Peace Flame. And Jacqueline Kennedy was here for this. And it was, I think, in 1938 that this was in place. So pretty cool. So you had the Union Army actually pushing back further and further towards the town of Gettysburg, which is right there. So this is the Moses McLean farm. As you can see, this red building in front of me. And during heavy fighting, the O'Neill's Confederate Brigade crossed this farm on the afternoon of July the 1st. And a marker here commemorates the charge by the 45th New York, which in return captured numerous prisoners. And then this farm is very close to the town of Gettysburg, which you can see there in the distance. Now, why am I in a car? Well, we don't have but just a little bit of time, and I want to get as much in as possible. So some of these I'm just saving time by not getting out, you know, showing them to you from the road, because really you can't go down there anyway. So it makes no sense to get out and go down there and walk around. So the Moses McLean farm, pretty cool building. We have nothing like that in Alabama, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so if you look behind me, this is the Moses McLean farm that we were just at. They got a cool little observation tower here, but at the same time, we're not really going to go up there. But I want to show you the more important view and what we're talking about here. And this is Oak Ridge. When the booming of cannons announced that the Confederates had taken possession of Oak Hill, Abner Doubleday shifted his reinforcements to meet the threat. Luckily for Doubleday, General James Robinson's 2 1st Corps brigades had arrived on Seminary Ridge right to my left. General Henry Baxter's brigade moved along the eastern slopes of the ridge and arrived in this location just as the initial Confederate attacks materialized. So you can tell they've got a cool stone wall here. And they were hidden behind this stone wall right at the crest of Oak Ridge. Iverson's 1,450 North Carolinians dropped to the ground and did their best to return fire. So you got Confederates charging across this field. And I mean, this was complete and immortal hell. You had artillery raining down on them. Confederates were dropping by the massive numbers within the line across this field, and it was really bad. The North Carolinians seized the initiative, and Baxter ordered a charge, resulting in the captures of hundreds of Iverson's men, along with regimental flags of the 20th and 23rd North Carolina regiments. Now, O'Neill's Alabamians were also repulsed from this location, and that was largely due to the 11th Corps infantry and artillery fire, as I mentioned before, on their flank. After exhausting their ammunition, Baxter's men were relieved by Union General Gabriel Paul's brigade, and Confederate General Ramsauer, probably didn't say that right, he entered the fight along with O'Neill, and Iverson survivors drove the stubborn Union defenders from Oak Ridge. So the Confederates mounted a counterattack across this field, and man, it cost them a lot of men and a lot of losses, and they drove all the Union soldiers from this position here. The contending brigades of Iverson and Paul both lost more than 65% of their men. There was a lot of men killed here. I mean, that is a lot of men. And this was one of the highest losses during the whole Battle of Gettysburg. I mean, it was tremendous. In the years that followed this ordeal that took place in this field, many placed personal blame for the disaster on General Iverson, and some even insisted that he was drunk while he was here. He didn't accompany the brigade in the assault. He remained here on Oak Hill to personally supervise the advance of reinforcements. As a member of the 23rd North Carolina put it, unwarned, unled his brigade went forward to Iverson's deserted band to his doom. Deep and long must the desolate homes and orphan children in North Carolina rue the rashness of that hour. And he placed blame on Iverson. So a very key event in the Battle of Gettysburg, especially during the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg, occurred right here. But also this event led to a lot of the other things that was to come over the next 2 days. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take you along with me on this little path, and we're going to go down, we're going to check out a monument, and then we're going to get back in the car, and we're going to hit the town of Gettysburg and kind of show the retreat, and then we'll see you in another video for the second day of the battle. So try not to make these videos too long, because yeah, they are pretty long. But this is Gettysburg. I mean, you got to make the sacrifice for this, right? So yeah, anyway, we're going to see this little monument, which is in the middle of this field, man. And this was put here by the survivors of the battle in 1883, August 27th to be exact. And this is showing exactly where the regiment charged from. 88 Pennsylvania Volunteers, 2nd Brigade, 2nd Division, 1st Corps. This regiment charged this point, capturing 2 battle flags and a number of prisoners on July the 1st, 1863. So, in my opinion, why did they pull back? Why did they pull back? I mean, just miscommunication? Who knows? But you could see the monuments right here to the men who fought here. There are so many monuments here in Gettysburg. It's just unreal.